Hello and welcome to Troy Buchanan High School, as it is this tournament between, today we got the Francis Howell Vikings against the Hazelwood West. And, well, Michael, we got a new basketball season in the books. Football just ended, and Francis Howell coming into this one with, of course, a lot of talent and a lot of guys who played football as well. So it'll be interesting to see how they come into this season, as this is their first game of the year. So obviously, you know, first game of the year, you never know how each team's going to respond, but obviously lots of talent on this Francis Howell team.
Oh, absolutely. First of all, welcome back to Francis Howell Activities Network. It's great to be back. A little hiatus, little vacation there. Yeah. And like you said, we got a lot of football players on the basketball court, so they still got some fresh legs. They're in shape, and there's a few returning players, you know. More importantly, a new head coach for the Francis Howell Vikings, you know, Coach Grant Agbo, who is coming off of an undefeated JV season, which a lot of returning JV players up to this varsity level, you know. Last year they had a few seniors that they lost, some key players, you know, your Sam Thompsons, your Sam Maddoxes, but they got a lot of talent and a lot of athletes on this court today. You know, you got a couple guys returning, notably Corey McCauley, Drew James, Booker Simmons, a lot of guys returning, and they got some new faces on the court as well. You know, we saw a lot of action from the quarterback Gabe James, led him to a very successful season, and he's on the basketball court as well, along with Drew James, as we mentioned. So we got a lot of returners and a lot of guys who got some time at the varsity level. Wasn't an everyday player, but was a huge role player coming off the bench, and a lot of those guys returning. And like I said, I think the chemistry that Coach Agbo has kind of preached amongst this group is going to be huge in this team's battle of the season this year.
Yeah, and for Grant Agbo, of course, like you mentioned, this is his first ever varsity head coaching game. So obviously last year, though, coaching JV, they go undefeated, and this is a lot of the similar guys that were on that JV team last year. Obviously, Francis Howell's varsity team losing a lot of starters from last year's team, but again, returning a lot of talent. Only one starter, though, returns here this year for Francis Howell, and that's Booker Simmons, who, of course, we've seen at quarterback for Francis Howell in football, and he's going to be going to have to be a big part of this basketball team this year.
Oh, 100%. You know, last year he was coming off of about 4.5 points per game, 5 rebounds per game. You know, we know he's an athlete. We saw what he can do at quarterback, and I think he's going to bring in a lot of that leadership as well on the court. You know, like you mentioned, starting-wise, it's one of the few that are returning here. Drew James did get a couple looks at start time last year. There's a couple players, you know, like I said, played some big role-playing roles, and they're just going to have to come in this year and carry a little bit more of a workload. And, you know, like I said, that Coach Agbo, he coached all these guys at a certain level, and he's was able to build some sort of chemistry, you know, no matter at what level. If you got an undefeated season on your hand, you did something right. So coming in today, they got a big matchup against Hazelwood West here at the Troy Buchanan tournament, and a great opportunity to get on the board with the first W, and you know, mark a lot of these guys' first varsity start. So I'm excited to see what they bring to the court.
So we will take a short break here on the Howell Activities Network, 2 minutes until tip, and we'll be right back with you after these messages here on the Howell Activities Network.
Whether it's balls and strikes, fouls, or flags, your referees and game officials are a vital part of high school athletics. If you've ever tried your hand at officiating, you know how hard these men and women work, and you certainly know that they would never miss a call intentionally. Keep these things in mind as you attend sporting events. After all, respecting officials and authority figures is one of the most valuable lessons that we can teach our students. This message has been brought to you by your friends at this local radio station and the Missouri State High School Activities Association. Fans, when you attend a high school game, do you stand at attention during the national anthem? Do you cheer a good play by the opposing team? If your team loses, do you take it well in stride? If you have answered yes to any of those questions, you are showing positive examples of sportsmanship. Don't forget that when you attend high school events, young eyes are watching you for examples of acceptable behavior. By making a conscientious effort, you'll be helping our students grow into better citizens. This message has been brought to you by your friends at the Missouri State High School Activities Association and this local radio station.
We are back here live on the Howell Activities Network for this first round matchup of the People's Bank Invitational in Troy, Missouri. For this game, we are in the freshman gym, as they call it here at Troy High School. So, nice little gym though that they got set up here for a first round game. As we're going to pause real quick for the national anthem. Be right back. We are back live here on the Howell Activities Network as they are getting ready to announce the starting lineups here, as currently Hazelwood West, the Wildcats, are announcing their starting lineup. So it looks like for Hazelwood West, they got number 0, Dezion Yun, a senior point guard. We got number 2, Darius Carpenter. Number 5, Jonathan Ruiz. Number 24, David Patton Maxwell. And I couldn't quite see who the other one was, Michael, but I believe as number 1, that's Jadis Gordon. So for Francis Howell, it'll be Dwight Lomax Jr., Gabe James. It'll be Booker Simmons. Corey McCauley, a senior, 6'5" senior. And the 6'4" sophomore, number 24, Jude James. So again, our first basketball game of the season, and well, we might be a little rusty here to start, obviously, going into the new basketball season, coming off of football. But we should be in for a good one here early.
Yeah, it's like riding a bike, Evan. That's what they always say. We get back on it and it's like we never left. We got Francis Howell Vikings, the home team on the scoreboard, along with the Hazelwood West Wildcats, the guests on the scoreboard here tonight. And Troy, 9th grade facility here, which, like you said, not a bad setup at all. And we got a good game on our hands here tonight.
So for Francis Howell, it'll be Corey McCauley taking the tip, the 6'5" senior for Francis Howell.
And an athletics senior is that, Evan. I mean, last year commentating games, that guy has some jumps, and we saw him get a couple dunks under his resume too last year as well.
So the Vikings win the tip. They're going to go inside and now pass out to the outside. And here's number 11. That's Booker Simmons. He's going to kick it out for 3, and that is number 3, Gabe James from downtown. And it's an early 3-0 Vikings lead.
And Gabe James not missing a beat where he left on the gridiron there. That was a splash there, Evan.
And that'll be a foul called up top there on number 24. And that is Jude James, his first.
And what a shot there from Gabe James. You know, I knew he could toss the pigskin around. I didn't know he could make a shot like that, though. That was smooth as butter.
Gordon for Hazelwood West will kick it to number 2, Darius Carpenter. He's being guarded by Gabe James. Carpenter will shoot this one in front of Gabe James, and it's an air ball and out of bounds. And Francis Howell will regain possession.
Now, the one thing about Hazelwood West here is you might notice a little bit more of a chemistry. They do have a game under their belt, so, you know, they've got an opportunity to kind of feel the game out, feel their own game out, feel the flow, and so you might see some successful passes here, and excited to see what they put together as well.
Here's Booker Simmons. Now back to Lomax Jr. Back up top to number 24, Jude James. They're going to go to the outside, inside now to McCauley, and he's going to get stripped, and it'll be Wildcat basketball. So good defense there by Hazelwood West.
Yeah, doing a good job kind of locking them down there, and we're able to force essentially a turnover there with that out of bounds pass.
Dazion Young will bring it up for Hazelwood West. And that'll be a reach-in call there on number 24, Jude James, and he's already picked up his second foul.
You know, the one thing about Jude James is he's a very active player on the ball and off the ball. I mean, defensively, he really gets involved in the action, and it looks like they'll be giving him a little bit of a break here early to start.
So an early 3-0 lead here for Francis Howell.
Looks like they'll
just a minute and a half into this one.
Looks like they'll be bringing in Taj Gurley for Jude James. So, you know, like I said, you get two fouls on you early there, so got to bring in some fresh legs, take some time off.
Gordon will drive this one, and it's tipped up, stolen by Gabe James. Gabe James is going to bring the ball up, and so a nice defensive possession there for Francis Howell. Number 2, Lomax will pass to Gabe James. Gabe James is going to kick it. That'll be a 3, and it is no good. And that was Booker Simmons with the 3-point attempt. Going the other way, the Wildcats. They're going to drive inside. The layup is good. And that is number 2, Darius Carpenter for the Wildcats, and that makes it a 1-point game.
We'll say, noticing early that this Hazelwood West team does look like they have some speed on this Howell team.
They like to play fast, for sure.
Definitely. I mean, that fast counter is going to be hard to defend. You know, they go at a rapid pace even when they're on the ball. So going to have to make some adjustments in that regard.
Lomax will kick it now to number 2, and they foul on the play. Lomax draws the foul. And actually, nope, that'll be going the other way. So
surprising call there.
It looks like they're going to give him on a charge on that one, so it'll be going the other way. So first turnover of the day for Francis Howell. It's about almost 3 minutes into this one. Hazelwood West is going to drive it in, and that is good. That is number 1, Jadis Gordon, the senior for the Wildcats. And they're going to put on a little bit of pressure here on the Vikings. Number 11, Booker Simmons will kick it for 3, and that is number 3, Gabe James, his second 3 of the game.
Gabe James coming out hot, 2 of 2 from 3, and they look smooth going in, too.
Hazelwood West will kick it. There is number 1, Jadis Gordon, who's got 2 points already.
Yeah, early on.
4 points already. And he's going to drive this one in, and he's going to draw the foul, and I believe that they got Gabe James on that one.
Early on, it looks like Jadis Gordon's kind of the floor general for this team. He's controlling just about every play going forward, and he likes to get in on the action himself as well.
Number 33, Taj Gurley, into the game for Francis Howell. So the Wildcats will inbound this. He kicks it out for 3, and that is no good, but gets his own rebound and puts it up and in. And that is number 5, Jonathan Ruiz, a senior for Hazelwood West. Lots of seniors on this Hazelwood West roster.
Yeah, that's one big thing to note. They got a lot of returners on this team. Fortunately, he got a good roll off the basket there. Was able to get his own rebound. But, these are all guys that have played at this level before.
They're going to go inside. Taj Gurley puts it up. No good. Tries to get his own rebound, and it'll be going the other way. They're going to get Taj Gurley on the foul.
Early out here, the Vikings are not getting the calls going their way by any means. That's
tough defense, especially inside there for the Wildcats early on. So an early 8-4 Wildcat lead. 4:15 left to go here in this first quarter. Gordon's going to drive it inside. He's going to put up a 2 and make it. And it's an early 10-4 Hazelwood West lead. Or excuse me, 8-6 Vikings. Sorry, I got my score wrong early, and I believe the scoreboard is off here at the arena. I believe right now it's 8-6 Hazelwood West.
Yeah.
It looks like, yep, they're going to adjust the scoreboard right here, potentially. For the Vikings, it'll be number 32, Ben Tobin, junior, coming in. Loban will kick it. There's Booker Simmons. He's going to put it up, and no good. Loban tries to get the rebound. It's out of bounds. I'll be staying with Francis Howell.
The scores table is all over the place right now. They have 10-4 on the scoreboard, but it's 8-6 Hazelwood West right now.
So currently right now our score is 8-6 Hazelwood West. At the gym, though, they have it as 10-4. I'm sure they will get it adjusted as soon as they can, and that might be why they're going to the monitor right now.
As we got a lot of fans vocalizing it as well, which, rightfully so. It kind of confused everybody on the floor here tonight.
As of now, Francis Howell will be inbounding the basketball once they get this scoreboard operation fixed. So far, what have you seen from Francis Howell early on why they fixed this scoreboard?
Francis Howell, they look good. They're still fixing kind of the tweaks from the offseason. A lot of these guys, as you mentioned, coming off the gridiron, translating to basketball. So they got to get their flow going still. However, this is an athletic team. It's early. Like I said, not getting the calls that they're asking for, really. But, they still got time, and it's early.
So the Howell Vikings will inbound it. They're going to kick it out. Gurley looked for 3, doesn't take it. Or excuse me, Gabe James looked for 3, doesn't take it. Now an inside bucket for Lomax. No, it's no good. Rims out. The Wildcats will go the other way. They're going to drive it inside. He's going to put up a wild shot, and he makes it. Jonathan Ruiz in traffic makes a tough basket there. And it's an early 10-6 Hazelwood West lead.
Early on here, Ruiz kind of looks like the
and the Vikings, that'll be a turnover.
Wildcats workhorse here early on, getting his own rebound, fighting for that basket there,
So an early 10-6 Wildcat lead as they have come to play here in this first round matchup of the People's Bank Invitational. Jadis Gordon will go to number 24 now inside. And the basket is good, again for Jonathan Ruiz. 6 early points for him. And just 3 minutes left to go here in this first quarter. Vikings down 6.
Yeah, 6 points from Ruiz early on here. And they weren't easy points. He had to work for him, getting his own rebound and kind of going up against a couple big guys there.
And they're going to get a foul on the Wildcats here. And I believe that'll be on number 0, Dejan Yun. Second foul for Hazelwood West. The Vikings with 4 early fouls.
Yeah, like I mentioned, weren't quite getting the right calls for themselves here early on, but Vikings battling back like they always do in just about every sport they got.
So they're going to try and get a bucket, and traffic draws a foul. And that's number 32, Ben Tobin, the junior, 6'5" junior for the Vikings. and that is on David Patton Maxwell. So third team foul for Hazelwood West. The free throw is good for Ben Tobin. So nearly about 5.5 into this one. Tobin's second free throw is good, and that cuts it to a 4-point deficit.
And I will say the one thing about Tobin is while he was on Coach Agba's JV basketball team, he was quite the shooter, you know. If I remember correctly, he was second in points on the JV roster, and he's got a good shot on him. As you saw, those free throws are flawless there.
Here's a three, and it's off the bank, and this a fast break for Francis Howell, and it's out of bounds. Off of Lomax, they're going to say, and it'll be going the other way. So, boy, the pressure for the Wildcats has been really, really good so far into this game, and we'll see if they can keep it up.
Like I said, they're very fast-paced. They keep the game at a high-press game, whether it's attacking the rim or whether it's guarding the rim. You know, they're almost like a gnat. They don't leave your side, and they keep coming at you. And it's kind of causing the –
pull up, and he hits it right in the face of Booker Simmons, and it's now an early 7-point advantage, and luckily there – Francis Howell retained the basketball as the Wildcats knocked it out. But, boy, a heck of a start here for Hazelwood West.
Absolutely, you know, I mean, there's that floor general that we were talking about, Gordon here. Big three-point shot there, and you can tell this team's not afraid to take the three, you know. They'll kind of go for it. They want to get some points early against this team.
And the rebound there and out of bounds off of Taj Gurley, and it'll be going the other way. They had a couple opportunities there to score, just couldn't get over the outstretched defender.
Yeah, McCauley kind of got board blocked there, you know, which can be an issue whenever you got hops like he does, man.
So Kendall Gurley also into the game for the Vikings. Here's a three, and it is no good. Rebounded by Taj Gurley. Kendall Gurley with it. He wears the number 0. He's going to kick it to number 11, Booker Simmons. Simmons now to Taj Gurley. Taj Gurley going to drive in traffic, and that'll be a blocking foul on the Wildcats.
Some early frustrations for this Vikings team. You know, like I said, it is early in the season. Got a couple kinks to work out for sure. However, Coach Agbo will get this team going for sure. Hazelwood West, however, a very credible start to this game. I mean, forcing a lot of frustration. It's not necessarily they're playing bad. It's just this Hazelwood West team is nonstop on them. It's always on them, and it's hard to shake that.
And they're going to get a 5-second call on the Vikings, and it'll be going the other way. So, again, struggles early on, especially offensively for Francis Howell. Well, really on both ends of the court as well, but it seems like they're really having trouble to generate any kind of rhythm on offense right now.
Well, during the offseason going into it.
Inside, going back up, and the foul is good and one. And that is number 24, David Patton Maxwell, the senior. And an early 17-8 lead for the Wildcats, and he's going to go to the line for an extra.
Yeah, like I said, I was kind of mentioning going into that play, which what a strong basket from Patton Maxwell that was. They always say play like you practice. This is the exact definition as to why you play like you practice, or practice like you play. This team, whenever in the offseason, you're probably not going as hard as this Hazelwood West team. However, it's quick. You got to adjust once you see these teams because it's a total different ball game here on this court against these Wildcats.
Here's a three, and it is no good and out of bounds, and that'll stay with Francis Howell as Ben Tobin fought for the rebound there.
I like that three-point take, though, there. I mean, you're trying to fight for points. Give it to the hot hand, James, there, and see if it can fall in. Well-taken shot.
They're going to go inside to Tobin in traffic. He puts it up, no good. Tobin gets his own rebound as it was kicked out. Now Taj Gurley's going to drive in. He's going to kick it back out, and it's a turnover. Bad pass. Going the other way. The Wildcats have it. They're going to kick it out. Gordon's going to drive inside. He's going to kick it back up top. Now back in. Patton Maxwell, no good. Gets his own rebound and gets another rebound. They're going to say a jump ball. Good effort by David Patton Maxwell there for the Wildcats.
I mean, these Vikings are just getting dominated under the basket right now.
Especially on the boards right now.
And I know it's the first game, but your awareness has to be quicker than that. I mean, they're not picking their heads up quick enough, and by the time they're already turning around, Hazelwood West is already on that board offensively and defensively. So, you know, you got to tune in. You have to tune in. It's still first quarter, but you got to tune in and make these adjustments here going into the second.
30 seconds left here in this first quarter. Gordon's going to kick it inside. Patton Maxwell, nice fake, and he puts it up and in. 20-8. Hazelwood West.
And I guess that explains why Gordon's a floor general. You see that look on that pass?
Inside, Booker Simmons draws a foul. Nice job there by Booker Simmons, and a good look by Ben Tobin. Actually a good look by Corey McCauley there.
Much needed points here for these Vikings, man. I mean, going into the second quarter here, these are much needed. Get the score within 10 and then readjust.
First free throw good for Booker Simmons. Booker Simmons, senior for the Vikings. One of the returning starters from last year for Francis Howell, and he early on in the season didn't get many starter minutes, but towards the end started a lot more down the stretch.
Yeah, he was battling back and forth with injury last season, but whenever he did come on, his presence was well known and really was a kind of engine for this team last year for sure.
They're going to shoot a three, and it is no good and out of bounds. And Francis Howell will have 4 seconds. I believe it went out of bounds at about 5.5, and they didn't stop the clock.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. Scores table struggling a little bit.
So Booker for three, and he draws a foul on the three-point attempt, and he'll go to the line and shoot three.
Smart decision. He saw kind of the pace that the defense was adjusting to, catch him off guard and draw that foul. And you got another opportunity. You're one of two. Let's make it 3 of 4 here, or 4 or 5 here on this one.
So just 2 seconds left. Simmons will shoot three, and the first one rims out. So 1 of 3 at the line so far for Booker Simmons. He's got 2 more here. It'd be great to cut it to a single-digit deficit.
That's as unfortunate of a roll as you get there. I mean, for a free throw shooter, you can't do much about that one. Hit the front, back rim.
Second free throw good for Simmons. Here's his third, and it's up and good. So that cuts it to a 9-point deficit. Wildcats will inbound it. Gordon will shoot a half quarter, and it is no good. Pretty good look, though. And that'll end the first quarter. And your Francis Howell Vikings down 9, 20-11. And what a start for Hazelwood West.
Absolutely. You know, going into that end of the first quarter there, the bank's open 9-5, so he just got there a little too late, got there a little too high, almost bounced in, got a good roll. But, you know, like you said, Hazelwood Wildcats coming in here and really with a high pace. And I think against a team it's their first game of the season, that's a team that can cause a lot of frustration, really. And we saw it here, you know, getting beat under the basket, getting beat just with simple passes, a lot of goofy turnovers that you see in the first game, you know. I mean, obviously those aren't going to happen throughout the whole year. You got a lot of kind of ground to cover, and a lot of these players are still adjusting, as we mentioned, from that football to basketball play. However, there's a lot of time left in there. Cutting the lead to within a single digits is huge, and time for the Vikings to get back and rolling.
So a good time to mention one of our sponsors, Jeff Earhart. Spending too much on car insurance? Need insurance for that new home? Don't stray too far from Howell and contact Coach Jeff Earhart at State Farm Insurance for our auto, home, property, business, life, and health needs. We'd also like to thank another great sponsor of the Howell Activities Network and People's Savings Bank. People's Savings Bank is the people you know and trust. So first quarter concluded here at Troy Buchanan's freshman gym. An early 20-11 Hazelwood West lead in the People's Bank Invitational. First round matchup, first game of the year for the Vikings. And like you said earlier, Hazelwood West, this is actually their second game of the year. So they do have a game under their belt, which might be kind of an advantage for them here today.
Absolutely. You know, in anything, football, baseball, basketball, soccer, if you get a game in hand, you get an opportunity to kind of start gelling and working out the flow of your game. And you can see that it's improved. I mean, their first game, don't get me wrong, was by no means what Hazelwood West wanted.
Yeah.
It was actually kind of a blowout against Pattonville. However, like I said, it gives you a lot more of a groundwork to work from, and you're seeing it here on the court tonight. Howell, on the other hand, still getting into the flow of things, cut the lead from to within single digits, and now they get the ball back and an opportunity to get back where they were going.
Lomax will get it to Simmons. Lomax on the right wing. Now he's going to go to the left wing. Inside. Back inside. He puts up, drop a foul. That's for Jude James. Another foul.
The shot need to get worked on every now and then. However, just his presence on the court is very disruptive, very for offenses, that is. And then on his offense, he creates a lot of space. He's always moving, working off the ball, and it really does go notice on this Howell Vikings team for sure.
So we got a timeout on the floor. It looks like they might try to see if that was a shooting foul or if it's just going to be a 1-and-1 as – I believe that's only the 5th foul on Hazel. No, that's the 7th foul on Hazelwood West, so that would put Francis Howell in the bonus.
From what we know, I mean, the scores table has been off, so they could be thinking they're doing it on Howell. But, I mean, either way, it looked like that's a shooting foul on the shot all day.
Yeah.
I mean, he was going towards
and
the basket.
Both sides were arguing. Francis Howell sideline was saying, hey, that's a shooting foul. And the other side was saying, no, it was a 1-and-1.
We see that quite often. It's just all about who's the better salesman. But, I mean, like I said, either way, that looked like he was going up for the basket there. And I'd imagine that he's going to the line here. And it looks like the ref is lining up for it as well.
So Jude James will go to the line. So it will be a 1-and-1. So not a shooting foul. This will be a 1-and-1 here